We're gonna kick this off in just a second. Just a couple of gigantic thank yous before we begin. Those of you who have done strategic planning in your own organizations or in your life, God knows why,
Yes, she does.
understand what it is to take on this kind of endeavor. And this has been a long one. This is a plan that has taken us a while to get to, and I think there's quite a bit of important stuff in here. There's some things that are changing, and there's some things that are staying the same, and there's some things that are gonna change, but we haven't quite gotten there yet, but we are close enough. Lisa will be able to tell you more about it, but I wanted to begin by saying a huge, heartfelt thank you to Lisa Mount. And to Leslie Ishii, yours, and to Raymond Bobkin, who, because he's not here, gets this. Paige, if you're in here, I want to send this home with you. Leslie and Raymond led this process along with a great and glorious team of team leaders. We have broken it up into several portions, and we finished yesterday with a presentation to our board and core members, and I'll let Lisa tell you how that all went. Do you need me to say anything else? Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Q. Mount.
Well, good afternoon, kind hearts and gentle people. It's good to be here with you and to not do so much talking about the strategic plan as a little singing. Yes. All right. My beloved friend in the booth, you will hear me call for the 4 slides that are at the top of this. Transparent facilitation right here. The approval process on Thursday with the board of directors who voted unanimously to approve this strategic plan, and yesterday with core members who voted to approve 2 things that only cores can vote on, was so smooth that I had extra time. And I thought, you know, what this really needs is a strategic planning song. You all get to help. We need a little rhythm here, so it's a little, you know. There you go. And you'll get the hook, because you already know it. And anytime you want to jump in, when the hook very obviously arrives, you sing along. Ready? Here we go. They say the networking part of the network makes the network work. It's that thing that makes all this new work twerk. And now we got a beautiful plan to keep on reaching as far as we can. Oh yeah, the networking part of the network makes the network work. Yes it does, yes it does. We got a groove, we got goals up in here, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. And if you thought y'all do the work, you're gonna take NNPN so far. It's true. There's some change coming, and we gotta be ready. Gonna keep on trucking and hold it steady, 'cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. Slide number 1. Hey, let's get the members in the membership all sailing in the same fine way. Got to matter, that's what relevant is to anyone who loves them a big new play. We gotta let some folks into the core, maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 4, because the networking part of the network makes the network work. There you go. Slide 2. Everyone knows it's what we do that keeps you true. Oh, yes, it is. 'Cause the They are NNPN super glue. So welcome back, PIRs. Let's collaborate and convene a lot. Oh, cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. Slide 3. You know we got to have the coin, make this whole thing run. Yeah, we do. NPX is the place that you find brand new plays just for fun. And that human to human's gonna keep us alive. Individual giving is how we will thrive, cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. But slide number 4, big change is gonna come by the end of 28, the fiscal year, that is. Somebody new, or maybe 2, gonna carry that leadership weight. We're gonna celebrate the NAN the best way we can. Oh, how? I'll tell you. Stick to the plan. Cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. Sing it with me one more time. Here we go. Cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. Musical theater tag, halftime. Ready? Cause the networking part of the network makes the network work. Yes, yes, a world premiere, really just impromptu kind of a song that appeared somewhere between last night and this morning. All right, next slide, please. So now you get the standard walkthrough that if you're a board member or a core member, you've seen this before. This whole idea about this strategic plan began to gel a year ago in Minneapolis, and the notion of a bridge, which is appropriate in both Minneapolis and Sacramento, cities that honor their iconic bridges, is infused into what this plan is. It's the bridge to the future, all right? Because major change is coming, and the intention is to get to that equitable and diverse, and I dare say robust, national nuclear ecology. That's a long-term goal. This plan's a part of the way, getting you a part of the way there. Next slide, please.
Yeah, take that.
Yeah, keeping hydrated, especially after singing. The values that NNPN adopted during its previous strategic planning process hold strong, and we are not moving away from them. You can see them here, and of course, the commitment to equitable, diverse, robust nuclear ecology is grounded throughout the set of values and all of the decisions that we made. Next slide, please. You just heard me sing it, but now you can see them all together. 4 strategic directions, right? The organizations, the art, the fuel, and the people are contained in each of these 4. And throughout this process, articulated since the very beginning, was the notion of really deepening meaningful engagement. And at one time, it was really focused only on the cores, but as we worked through this process with tens of people, maybe hundreds, but there was definitely tens, lots of folks had their hands on this process, it became clear that the cores need the strongest ties, and we need to build strong ties among associates, ambassadors, partner organizations, artists, and everyone that NNPN touches by supporting the world of nucleus. So that's the guiding principle on that first one. And the second one, hey, meaningful engagement. How do we make meaning together as artists? How do we make meaning together as people running a network that is one of the most exciting places in the arts and culture field, not just the theater field, to be right now? The energy in this room and in the rooms that we've been in all weekend is palpable. And I heard somebody saying last night, It feels so friendly and so welcoming here. Not as I was instructed when I went to my first major national theater conference, oh, it's a name tag conference. They'll look at your name tag and decide they don't need to know you and walk away. That does not happen here, right? And we do need the coin, and NPX is the envy of the service organization and network world for driving significant revenue and providing a tremendously needed service that nobody else had figured out to do except NNPN. And in the midst of that, there's more to be done. And of course, we've got operations in this last one, and Nan, I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the top of it. There's a key announcement that is embedded in this plan as a strategic decision. It's yours to say. You ready? No, but you're gonna do it anyway.
With all the love and all the respect and all the joy that you guys have brought me, I have decided that I will be leaving leadership before the end of fiscal year 28. So by June of 2028, I just said to Lisa, do you think I'm announcing so early because I want them to applaud me multiple times every time they see me? But I will tell you what it really truly is. Nothing is wrong. I don't want anybody to think anything is wrong. I was handed, when I took this job, when Jack Ruler called me and asked me if I would move to Washington, D.C. for $35,000 a year. I wish I was joking. And I said yes. There were, I think there were 21 cores and 12 associates. We had just gotten the first funding to do the research and development on New Play Exchange. We had just started accepting associate memberships, and we had just gotten our first major significant multi-year funding for Rolling World Premieres. So it's as if the universe and the board and members of NNPN said to me, here, be successful, have a wonderful time. And that is what has happened. And I want to make sure that over the next 18 months, I set up the next leader or leaders to have that same success. I wanted to do it over the course of time so that we could do it in a thoughtful way, that we could find the person, not to replace me, but the person who's going to take this organization that next jump, whatever it may be. So I'm not going anywhere right now. Sorry to disappoint those of you who are like, she's gone. But you will be hearing a lot about it. The plan currently calls for us to begin talking in January of 27 about hiring a facilitator to help us do the search, getting it ready. We need to have some big discussions about whether we're going to stay all remote or whether we want to go back, not we, you all, want to go back into an office. We need to have some big discussions about the entire staffing structure. And while I'm there, we've had a series of wonderful staff folks work with us in my time. And you'll remember it was me and a part-time JoJo when I started, those of you who've been around. And now we are 5 full-time and 7 to 10 contractors and part-time people. And of course the network is much larger as well. We'll be talking a little bit about some more staffing that we're going to be doing in the coming year. This staff right now that we have is rock solid, as I'm sure you have experienced this weekend. I have begged everybody to stick around while I go through this and while you all move forward. And I hope that the staffing will stay fairly stable over the next 18 months while we go through the process. I hope that we will have a leader selected by late 2027 or early 2028. It is my intention to step away somewhere around the end of the fiscal year, unless we get really lucky and find somebody and I'll go. One small caveat. I'm still going to need work, so don't forget me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. it's just time. It feels like it will be 15 years by the time I leave. That feels like a very long time. I'm a big proponent in leadership, moving on and getting out of the way for the next group. I'm very honored and privileged to have been able to do what I have been able to do. I want to remind you, I've been saying for several years now, I think I got one more big thing in me. So let's talk about what that might be. I want to leave it as wonderfully set up for success as I have found it. You also probably have noticed my wonderful staff and friends arming me around over the course of the weekend. I am losing my vision. I have about 25% of my vision left now, and it's stable, and I hope that nothing is going to happen, but that is a piece of why I'm trying to get out of the way, because it's hard. It's hard to do everything. Everything takes twice as long and has to be twice as big and twice as bulk. So that is a piece of it, but that's the only thing that's not perfectly fabulous. Because it is, I kick myself every day thinking, what the hell am I doing walking away from this? Because I love the job. I love you guys. I love being in this room. If I could have, staff, don't panic. If I could have a convening once a quarter, I would be doing that because I love it when you're all together. But now we have Zoom and all those things that we didn't have back when I started in 2012. Or when the network started in 1998, and we used to sit in artistic directors' offices and type back and forth to each other on some antique program. That's how we talked together, because back then you still had to pay for long distance, and God forbid who did that. So I'm gonna ask you to start thinking about what's important for you, thinking about how you can help make the network work, thinking about who else you want to see sitting in this room with you, because this is going to open up membership in a way that we haven't done it in a while. Very excited. I'm not kidding you, I think I've had, since in the last 2 weeks, I've had at least 4 companies contact me. People want to be a part of what you are already being a part of and what you are already driving. And again, I am so grateful to have been able to offer service to you. I continue to offer services to you. Just when you get something from me that's all black, please just go to your little thing and turn the types white or black, and you'll be able to read it, because I have to work in dark mode all the time. So I know occasionally people get emails and they're like, this doesn't say anything. It does, you just have to, it's like a little hidden thing. It's my way of torturing you on my way out. So anyway, be excited for me, because I'm excited. Be excited for what's to come for the network, and be patient with me as we move forward. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and your focus and your love and support. Again, a very special thank you to the board and to our staff who have made me continue to be able to work possible. I am so deeply appreciative and grateful. So, with that being said, let's figure out what we're going to do till I go, and then beyond that. So back to Lisa.
There you go. All right, I'm going to, within the next 19 minutes, walk you through this so that we get a full 15-minute break before Cliff's presentation, which you do not want to miss. Throw me the next slide if you would, darling. Great. Strategic Direction 1 has 2 goals, and we have named some very clear priorities. Increasing engagement, support, and accountability among member theaters is key to the success of this plan. And when we started this on Thursday morning, we had 2 priorities in here: creating an evaluation working group to assess NNPN's membership structure, because the changes that NNPN went through because of the last strategic plan of decoupling core membership from governance, also a remarkable thing in the field, that people who held board seats and governance seats said, you know what? If we want to change this organization, we might have to cede power, right? So they did, and the organization changed. That change is not done yet. So there is time built into this plan to spend fiscal 27, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, really looking deeply at membership structures and how they can be made more equitable without losing the strong ties of a limited membership. It's a fascinating conundrum. The Corps made a decision yesterday, which is to welcome up to 5 new core members as quickly as we can in fiscal 27, right? And as we were discussing this at the board level, we really connected around an impassioned plea to do whatever is within NNPN's capabilities to support the theaters and the artists who are from historically marginalized communities who are currently being targeted in our political environment. So that moved up from just being a good idea to being a priority, because that's how this group of people responds. In addition, we will be encouraging meaningful participation by artists, ambassadors, and partner organizations in the network. So it's a porous group, and everyone matters in it because we all play a role in this particular ecology. Next slide gets you to a lot of text here. Hey, let's do that meaningful member engagement through the programs. And the impact on member theaters comes most from Rolling World Premieres, Producers in Residence, Collaboration Fund, Ventures Pipeline. I'm pleased to say that the Producer in Residence program and the Collaboration Fund will be coming back online in fiscal 2027, right? So that is firing up again, and that's the top priority there, is to continue that capillary action and connection that comes. In addition to that, there are 3 other goals that are also really important. Using equity, diversity, inclusion, and access as a lens for every programmatic decision has been a practice and will continue to be, and there's always more work to be done as we fight the forces of white supremacy culture that try and snap us back to a place that we're still pretty much in as a nation, but NNPN is doing its very best to push that envelope and to work against those systems and to be mindful in that process. In-person convenings are number 1 on folks' lists of how to get together, and those will continue, and the intention is to lengthen the planning horizon to 2 years to really try and make sure that it can have an impact on the local community and that the local community can have an impact on the national community so that it's truly reciprocal. And online connectivity continues year-round. Through the convenings, the monthly pitch sessions are very well attended, and as a new hire, which will come up in a moment in the talking, we hope comes online soon, there may well be other kinds of peer networking and cohort building that happens online so that there's continuity there. Next slide is about the coin and the relationship of visibility to fundraising. So moving NNPN forward in the future is going to include working on building a larger individual donor core. For those of you who go immediately to competition rather than cooperation, please have no fear. No donors will be poached in this. What we're looking for are contributors who recognize that individual member theaters are part of this larger ecosystem and who want to have an impact both at the local level and the national level. But it's not an either or, it is most definitely yes and. Institutional funding will of course continue because foundations are the lifeline for networks and coalitions and service organizations, so that's not going anywhere. Recognition, as Christine Stanley has taught me over and over and over again, and visibility is essential to good fundraising practice. So we're going to keep those things working as another recirculating pump. And NPX, the envy of the service organization field, still has headroom to grow in terms of the revenue that it generates for this organization. Nan, I think I heard you say recently that you expect in fiscal 27 that revenue will top $500,000.
Well, we did $585,000 this last year.
585 in fiscal 20. Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, it's the NPX year, so February 15th to February 14th.
Oh, just what we need, another fiscal year. And earning $500,000, earning $585,000 from a product is rare and wondrous and powers so much while doing so much good. There's more headroom there within higher education with the ACTA platform and within the English-speaking world beyond Turtle Island, the continent on which we find ourselves. And finally, you've already heard the big news in this, which is a leadership succession process that will be thoughtful. There is also hiring news on the horizon to hire at least a half-time membership associate, if not a full-time, budget allowing. If we're going to do this engagement work, it needs a person who wakes up in the morning thinking about that and who works on that 5 to 6 days out of the week, depending on how you structure your life, right? But making sure that there are what someone once called human racehorses to lead that charge and move it forward. And then the board has work to do on bylaws, and all boards have work to do on fulfilling their duties and being accountable to the organization and the public that we serve through our nonprofit status. So there is a considerable quantity of work to do coming out of this plan. Much of it is a continuation of existing work, because as we said, it's a bridge to the future. Next slide, please. Oop, right, and the next slide after that. There it is. No, that's the one I want. So there are a few key next steps that are going to come up. To finish out the plan, we will be building a narrative. There are initial financial projections going at least 3 years forward, and those will get refined once we hear about some key gifts that May should tell us about. So we will do the work to create a document that can be held and looked at. We're discussing what a plan on a page will look like. And really figuring out how to operationalize mutual aid and support within NNPN's existing programs, and how to connect with potential funders who might want to help us make that a reality. That's going to happen as an immediate next step. And then, what does success look like? It's not just an existential question, right? Figuring out the metrics and how to judge progress on this plan will be taking place during the first half of the next fiscal year as part of the overall implementation of the plan. We're not going to take your questions. We love you. You can come and find me and ask me any question you want, but we're not going to prolong this presentation by making everyone listen to one person's curiosity. I don't think that's equitable. It has been an honor and a privilege to be of service to NNPN, both for the last strategic plan and for this one. This is a room that I really love being in, and I think we've done very solid work together. Many, many people touched this plan along the way. The bones of it got put together in Minneapolis at about this time last year, and it has morphed a number of times to come to this, which was indeed passed by the board on Thursday of this week. Thank you all for your attention. Last slide. Ta-da! Thanks, y'all. It's 4:20. You can take whatever kind of break you want. It's California after all. I believe the next session starts at 4:45. Am I right, staff members? I'm not a calendar checker. Cliff, is that what you're on? He says yes, 4:45 back in this room. Enjoy a little amplitude and maybe even some sunshine. Nah, too much to hope for, at least daylight. Thanks, y'all.